Right, hello again. In this last video, if you're following along for the lab class, what we're going to be doing is using VassarStats to run a correlation, and here's how we do it. So we're on the VassarStats website. To run the correlation, we click on Correlation and Regression, and we're going to go to Basic Linear Correlation, the data import version. If we scroll down, this is where we'll be entering the data. Now the data is a bit odd because we have to put the columns that we're correlating right next to each other. So for your labs, the variables that you can choose from is age, sex, and income. You can use either personal income or household income. That's your choice as to which you'd like to use. And you're correlating any one of these four with one of these two. In fact, I think what you'll be correlating it with is the pandemic social distance with this second column here. So you're checking to see which variable might influence the degree to which people are social distancing. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to have to do in this database is get one of the variables over here. Now, I'm going to choose a variable that you're not running any analyses on, so we're doing this just for practice. The variable is a demographic question about how many children a person has. You are not hypothesizing about this one. We're just doing this just to show you guys how to run the correlation. So now we're checking to see, are people more likely to practice social distancing given the number of children they have? And I'm sure we can come up with a hypothesis about safety and health and this kind of stuff, but we're not going to worry about that. We're just going to worry about running the analysis. Okay, now that they're next to each other, what we're going to do is you highlight the data, not the labels, right? So don't include the labels up here. You're only including the data from the two columns. And you're going to go down till they're all highlighted. Once again, I'm only doing this on half the data. The database you'll be using is much larger, more people. All right, now I'm going to copy the data. So I just hit Control-C. You could also right-click and hit Copy. Then we go back to the data where it says Data Entry. And now I'm going to paste. Right? So we paste the data here, and that's it. Now you click on Calculate, and we're going to look at the results. So you've got some descriptive stats that you got here for each of the variables. So the first column, I believe, is social distancing. So you've got your mean, you've got your standard deviation, and your standard error. For the second variable, which is the number of children, you've got your mean, standard deviation, standard error. When we ran the t-test, it didn't provide us with this output, so we needed to run the descriptive stats separately, but it looks like they're giving us all the data that we need to report our results here. Okay, here's the results of the correlation. Our correlation coefficient is 0.039. We ran that up to 0.04. That's really small. That's a very weak correlation. Notice how close it is to 0. And in fact, I'm not surprised when I look at my p-value, it is not significant. The p-value is 0.58. This is greater than 0.05, so this would indicate a non-significant correlation. If this value, p-value 2-tailed, is less than 0.05, it means there is a significant relationship. There is a significant correlation. Then you would write that in your results section. But in this case, it's not significant. All right. Please check the video in lab on how to create a scatter plot. You want to make sure that you're including a APA formatted scatter plot to show the association between the two variables. And that's it. That's how you run correlation on VassarStats.